Stand by. The program will begin soon.
There's an example yesterday I saw of this woman who's been here. I mean, we might even play this clip. She's been here 20 years. She has 3 kids who were born here. Her kids are because of birthright citizenship, which is another subject that's coming up. And she's never bothered to even try to resolve her immigration status. Not in 20 years. She has never tried to resolve her immigration status. Not through Republican presidents, not through Democratic presidents, nothing. And so now, she's worried about being deported because they put out the sob story of this woman. Well, that's not the average person they're even looking at right now. The average person they're looking at crossed in the last 3 years are CNN is cutting jobs to embrace the digital future. No, they're cutting jobs because, as I like to say, they suck. CNN is undergoing a significant restructuring, planning to lay off about 200 employees, which constitutes approximately 6% of its workforce. This move is part of a broader strategy under CEO Mark Thompson to pivot towards a digital-first approach, focusing on expanding digital subscriptions and reducing costs from traditional TV operations. Wait a minute. Didn't they already try the CNN subscription service, which failed miserably? Which, if you truly have compassion for trans kids, you would allow them to all go through puberty, because 90% of kids who think they're trans change their mind once they go through puberty. That puberty is the fix for most of the problems. But you guys want the medicalization of kids and sterilization of kids and medical and surgical altering of kids who can't make that decision at 12 years old or 13 years old. Diablo asks, why is it when I try to show empathy and concern, people always misconstrue it? Last time I asked someone if their mom at least got a good check from the clinic that botched the abortion. Oh! Oh, God. Damn it, AD. I think you just need to find a gentle way.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
I would be willing to bet everything I own that submitting a 22-minute video montage that shows the most egregious acts of violence you can find from that day, when the defendant in question is on that video for only 6 seconds and the scene walking calmly, is highly prejudicial and a violation of the defendant's due process rights. The person was found guilty and sentenced to 19 months in prison. Now, it took 2 hours to read through all of the documents that were in the case file. Every motion submitted by the defendant was denied. Every motion by the defendant was denied. How often does that happen? And every motion submitted by the government was granted. They turned a trespass misdemeanor that would have resulted in a $50 ticket into 5 misdemeanors and a felony charge by charging the defendant with a statute that would have required the Secret Service to rope off the section he was in, which they did not. They also charged him with a statute that would have required them to prove Mike Pence was in the building at the time he walked through that corridor. He was not. And they used an Enron statute that the Supreme Court struck down. If you accept a pardon, you are admitting guilt. Period. That's the, because you can't be pardoned if you're not guilty.
Whether he can preemptive pardon, whether he can issue President's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no. No, Mr.
Oh,
that
you
would
can't?
Be a gross abuse
of
the presidential
it's
pardon
a
authority.
gross abuse of presidential pardon authority. Well, there you go. You accepted a pardon, Adam Kinzinger. You think you may have committed a crime. Oh, here, Jamie Raskin. Dirty Q-tip. Dirty Q-tip, Jamie Raskin. What else? What did he have to say?
Well, the seeking of pardons is
Yes, it's only on
powerful
one side.
demonstration of the consciousness of guilt. Or at least the consciousness that you may be in trouble.
Jimmy
And that's
Raskin.
what's so shocking
Did he
about
get a
this.
pardon also? Wasn't he on that committee?
The seeking of pardons is...
He was on that committee. I'm curious if you're going to condemn that part. Are you going to condemn that pardon?
You know, Joe Biden pardoned a lot of people. Yeah, he should answer for that and explain.
Lots of murderers, lots of drug dealers, lots of people who killed people. Commuted the sentence of a couple murderers. One who, in fact, one drug dealer who people died from taking the drugs that they sold him.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
The Obama-Aniston rumors have gone wild. Rumors have emerged on social media that suggest Barack and Michelle Obama might be heading towards divorce, with speculators linking Barack Obama to actress Jennifer Aniston. Those rumors have gained traction following Michelle Obama's absence from Jimmy Carter's funeral and the inauguration, and are based on tabloid stories and social media speculation without solid confirmation from the individuals involved. So far, they're still rumors, and I don't know why people are perpetuating them, but it is kind of fun to perpetuate rumors like that. No one's come out to, out and out deny anything. That's the weird part.
We should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity.
The audacity!
Of a president who's so clearly concerned about his own criminal culpability.
Oh my God, his own criminal culpability and his son's business dealings. I know that they're talking about Joe Biden, aren't they?
And that of his family members.
Like the boy asked, are cats really soul suckers? Yes. Yes. That's why I'm not into cats. Dogs, man. I'm a dog guy. Avocado Stably, is there an aisle in the grocery store that is less objectionable to have sex in? Where do you come up with this shit? Dude.
Has done something no person in the world has ever done before. A dead man, a dead politician has risen.
Yes.
Somebody who 4 years ago at Davos, he's buried, a dead.
And I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding Donald Trump's demise that has failed. I wonder how many people at Davos, again, let me say it again. I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding what they had hoped would be Trump's demise. I bet you there's a few of them there. And it didn't work, did it now? Didn't work now, did it?
Politically known to me. He's now returned. This is the greatest comeback in political history of a politician. And then, therefore, he thinks he can do anything.
At the end of the show, every day on my show, if I put something on the screen or I'm talking about it, or it's a topic or an article that I'm presenting in this show, I provide links to every single thing that I've talked about, and even more, the ones I didn't even get to. I drop them in the chat at the end of the show, and also I drop them in the description. So if you want to find these articles, they will be in the links at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only Dawg Knight.
Yeah, baby. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet, and welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel, where the coffee's flowing in the Big Daddy cup. Got Big Daddy going today because I needed a lot of coffee because I was up late last night for no other reason than we're trying to prepare for vacation. And you know, when you leave on vacation, you're gonna have a house sitter, and you realize you look around your house and you go, oh crap, our house looks like shit because there's clutter and stuff everywhere. So we've been cleaning our house. Oh, not necessarily clutter up the bedrooms, but just, you know, you just don't want someone coming over and taking care of your dog and looking at your house going, what's wrong with these people? So we are cleaning our house in advance of a nice little vacation. And that, on that note, reminder, the next 2 weeks I will not be doing the show, although we have some snippets and stuff here and there from wherever we are in the world. So, you know, you can prepare for that, but you know, so that's happening. And today I decided to go back to the Insta Wednesday thing that I was going to do a few weeks ago. And so we're going to be looking at some hot takes on the internet and then discussing those. But there's also news, there's breaking news, there's all kinds of stuff. So we'll get as much done as we can today. Good morning, everybody on the chat. And welcome. So let's just get to that because that's important. There's only 12 people here. We need to work on those numbers. But anyway, first in the chat today, who is it? Oh, well, fancy that. It's Avocados Diabli. What's up? You get the bell. Congratulations. Also, good morning, Mike Savage, Blarg, Somnambule Nation, bright and early, Desert Tramps in the house, Attack Alpaca, Robert Banks. What up, Banks? The Pope's here. Pope Tyrannius the Third, the Blessed Lich. I don't even know what a lich is. Is that sad? Blue-Eyed Scream, good morning. And Donkey Punch Bandit, the greatest name on the internet. K-Shell's in here. Good morning, Kirsten. And that's everybody. What the hell's going on here? Let me look up what a lich is, because I know it's something in some game you play or some shit. Let's see. What is a lich? Here. What is a lich? Oh, it's a type of undead. Okay. Well, here. I'm gonna see what the Wikipedia answer is. Oh, hey, here we go. Here's the wiki on liches. Oh, wait, this article is about the undead creature. For other uses, see lich, disambiguation or something. A fantasy fiction lich is a type of undead creature with magical powers. Various works of fantasy fiction, such as Clark Ashton Smith's The Empire of the Necromancers, had used lich as a general term for any corpse, animate or inanimate, before the term's specific use in fantasy role-playing games. The more recent use of the term lich for specific types of undead creatures originates from the 1976 Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game booklet Greyhawk, written by Gary Gygax and Rob Kuntz. Often such a creature is a result of a willful transformation as a powerful wizard skilled in necromancy? Is that like a never mind. Anyway, who seeks eternal life, uses rare substances in magical ritual to become undead. Unlike zombies, which are often depicted as mindless, liches are sapient revenants, retaining their previous intelligence and magical abilities. Liches are often depicted as holding power over lesser, mindless, undead soldiers and servants. Okay, I used that voice for the lich, and there you go. So if you're always confused, because it's funny because I never came across liches when I played Dungeons and Dragons, although I didn't play Dungeons and Dragons that much. So maybe that's why. I only dabbled in Dungeons and Dragons with some friends who were really into it. And I thought it was kind of fun, but it was also, look, our what do you call the dungeon master, something like that? Our master, the master who wrote the games, at least the ones that I played, went off on tangents all the time. So there, your game, you're doing this, and all of a sudden you're off into some place that you don't know what the hell you're supposed to do. And so there you go. But Pope the Tyrannus III, the Blessed Lich, says Lich is a special undead creature that was once a wizard that separated their soul from their bodies to achieve immortality, unless their phylactery is destroyed, restoring their soul. So there you go. Thank you very much for giving that out. Also, good morning to my other, on the special honorable mention list of favorite Canadians, Special Can Assets in the house. Nice to have you here. DM was a side quest king. Yeah, pretty much. He was into them. He loved him some side quests. All right. Anyway, let's get into what's going on in the world today. Oh, you know what? Oh, I forgot again. Hang on. Good Lord, Marty, what's wrong with you? Okay, here is, can I get rid of that? What can I get rid of here? I got too many windows open. Oh, first, thanks to the people who share the show. Let's do that. Of course. Oh, wow, I got to scroll up pretty far. Somnambule Nation, thank you for sharing the show. Greatly appreciated. Tweeted it out oneself, and also a little and of course Reaction Puerto Rico is in theme, throwing some dollars out there in the let's go. Thank you, Cashapp and Tyler. Wait, which Tyler is that? Tyler F and Reaction Puerto Rico for retweeting the show announcements via X, the app formerly known as Twitter. So thanks to all the people doing that. And I know I didn't put it up in the links today, so but appreciate those who did. All right, let's go here. In fact, here, let me retweet this. And hang on a second. We'll repost that one and that one. Thank you again. So, some more people are out doing that shit too. Thank you, Mike Savage, Blarg, with a let us go, and that's as opposed to celery go. Thank you, Beer. I'll be here all show. All right, let's get into the show now. Holidays today. Well, this one's concerning. Today, in the holiday calendar, it's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world today. I'm concerned. Make the most of your time and celebrate life. It's the end of the world, and we know it. As we know it, I feel fine. But we're still here. So I'm not sure what that was about. It's National Talk Like Yoda Day. Yes, Yoda talk like we must. Yoda kind of sounds like kind of a cross between Kermit and Froggy. Not Froggy. Kermit and Fozzie Bear. You ever notice that? Because Yoda's a Jim Henson creation, I think, something like that. It's National Juice Slush Day, so I guess so grab your watermelons and blueberries and pineapples and make a slush out of them. World Meditation Day. Nope, that's some sacrilege shit. I'm not doing no meditation. Just kidding. Eat More Fruits and Vegetables Day. That should be every day. National Memo Day. No, I don't need any memos. National World Fish Migration Day, or International World Fish Migration. How do you celebrate that? The fish do it on their own. That's dumb. National Employee Health and Fitness Day. National Wait Staff Day. Tip your servers and bartenders. Thank you. And again, National Waiters and Waitress Day. So there's both the National Wait Staff Day and the National Waiters and Waitresses Day. Aren't those the same fucking thing? I'm swearing already. Good Lord. Oh, Yoda's Fozzie Bear, for the love of Christ. Didn't I say Fozzie? It's kind of didn't I say what did I say? I said a cross between Kermit and Fozzie Bear, right? He also voiced Miss Piggy. Yes, I did. Hello, Rick Ashbringer, by the way. And Tyler F's in the house. Good morning. So, there you go. Those are the holidays today. Yippee skippy. All right, next is, what else is today? Of course it's Hump Day! Now I don't have my favorite hump day thing here. I didn't do it. So, and I'm really, oh wow, and I look at hump day and it just shows my stuff. Here's a nice one. This is a nice hump day one. Let's do this one. Hang on. All right, here's a good hump day one. This one says, as soon as it pops up, "Morning, Patriots. God bless you and your families. You know the sun is always shining, even if you have clouds that cover it. Just have to go above the clouds. Have a blessed hump day." That is a beautiful sentiment, and it deserves a bell. Hello, Lord Stanhope. What's up? You know what? I cannot improve on that hump day message. That is a beautiful hump day message, and I'm just going to close out the other possibilities because whatever. No, by the way, I was scrolling a little bit on the hump day, tab on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, and I was, wait a minute, you hate people who write shit like that? No, that's beautiful. It's a nice sentiment. Sometimes you just have to relax it and go with it, man. Anyway, I didn't scroll very long on the hump, or I was going to scroll on the hump day thing, and there weren't many, I don't even think I saw any body parts. I was like so happy to not have to, worry about censoring my my Twitter feed. But I'll leave a hump day here. I'll leave the hump day thing up here just so that you can, if you want to scroll through it and find body parts that are uncovered, you can try and do that. I just didn't happen to run across any today like I usually do. And I was like, oh, I'm safe today. Of course, I may have spoken too soon. In fact, let me just do this. I'm going to go back and open that tab. Let's see how long it takes. I'm just scrolling. There's a whole lot of me on here. Scrolling, not yet. Still scrolling, none yet. Oh my goodness. But there's a hell of a lot of my posts on here. I wonder why that is. Apparently my hump day posts are very popular and they end up on the high end of the thing. Okay. Oh, there we go. Tell you what, I'm just going to leave it in the tabs. It's not completely done, but it's definitely not one I want to put on the internet or on YouTube at least. Well, I mean, it could, they're covered up, but it is rather, let's just say it's rather, I was going to say titillating, but not because of what would be the obvious thing. But happy hump day to those who celebrate. It'll be in the links today. This will give you an excuse to go into the links today. Okay. It'll give you an excuse to go into the links today. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So there you go. All right, moving on. What else we got? Oops. Just not again. I don't want to put that on the screen. Good Lord. The Empire Strikes Back is trending because 45 years ago today, I was in line at a movie theater to go see this movie. Possibly the best Star Wars movie made. The Empire Strikes Back, and you're out there in the snow planet, and you find out who Darth Vader is for real. You find out who Luke is for real, and so 45 years ago, The Empire Strikes Back came out. Now, granted, the special effects, which at the time were top notch, may look a little dated to this day, but the story was fan-fucking-tastic, and so. We celebrate The Empire Strikes Back today. Good morning, TC. Good morning, JB. Nice to have you. It's initials, people with initials time. So anyway, yeah, that's why The Empire Strikes Back is trending. Also trending is Tush Push. Now, when I saw the words Tush Push trending, I was very concerned why Tush Push was trending. Because when you hear the words Tush Push, you think, oh yeah? Doing a little Tush Push. No, that's not what it is. Apparently the NFL has a new rule, or is contemplating a new rule about the Tush Push, which sounds really gay, if you ask me. But no, the tush push is when a runner's running with the ball and then a bunch of their teammates go up from behind him and push him by the tush to get him to go farther. There's a ZZ? Yeah, there is a ZZ Top song. Is it called Tush? I know it's in there. But anyway, so they're looking at banning the tush push because the Eagles were too good at it. And so that's what that's all about, if you were just wondering. You can look it up. I don't need to talk about it anymore. Some sad news, and I don't care the politics of it, but more just the human side of it. Congressman Jerry Connolly has passed away this morning. Representative Jerry Connolly from Northern Virginia. Here's the announcement. The family of Congressman Gerald E. Connolly released the following statement today. It is with immense sadness that we share that our devoted and loving father, husband, brother, friend, and public servant, Congressman Gerald E. Connolly, passed away peacefully at his home this morning, surrounded by family. Jerry lived a life to give back to others and make our community better. He looked out for the disadvantaged and voiceless. He always stood up for what was right and just. He was a skilled statesman on the international stage, an accomplished legislator in Congress, a visionary executive on the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, a fierce defender of democracy, an environmental champion, a mentor, and to so many. But more important than his accomplishments in elected office, Jerry lived by the ethos of bloom where you are planted, from the Silver Line of the Oakton Library, Mosaic District to the Cross Country Trail and beyond. His legacy now colors our region. We were fortunate to share Jerry with Northern Virginia for nearly 40 years because that was his joy, his purpose, his passion. His absence will leave a hole in our hearts, but we are proud of his life and his work, and that will endure for future generations. We thank you for your love of Jerry, and know he loved you all so much. Look, politically, no fan of Jerry Connolly, but the human side of me says, you know what, this is a man who had a family who loved him. He had friends who loved him, and it's sad. Now it's odd. It's really weird because, and there's a few people on here talking about this. For example, here's a video when apparently they were. When the committee he was on in Congress found out he passed away, there's video of it. Here it is. Some members were very taken. A lot of people in Congress on both sides of the aisles actually liked the man, and which says something about him. Here's LaGrange. Is that where the tush push thing there? Here we go.
And say a prayer for his family.
This is when they found out.
Take some time.
All right, so they had their moment of silence in his committee. I liked her better than the Golden Girls. Come on now. That's not funny. Yeah, it is. Okay, it's funny. So anyway, one of his, Marlon Dubinson was, I guess, worked for Jerry Connolly, best boss, best mentor, amazing friend. Rest in peace, Jerry. Lots of people giving their tributes to Jerry Connolly. Again, as a legislator, but like I said, he has a family, he has friends that care about him, and so rest in peace, Jerry Connolly. Other things trending because of that. Northern Virginia is trending also because that's where he was from. And again, lots of tributes here from different people. Now, what's fascinating too about this too, where is this? Where is it? There was a post under House Democrats here, under House Democrats. Interesting. This is the 6th House Democrat that has died in office in the last 13 months. That's just weird, man. Donald Payne, Sheila Jackson Lee, Bill Pascrell, Sylvester Turner, Raul Giralva or something like that, Grijalva, and now Jerry Connolly. It's kind of wild. Now, in fact, what's this say? the 119th Congress is less than 5 months old. In that time, 3 House Democrats have passed away in the middle of the term. And again, 6 in the last 13 months. Yeah, what's taking them out? Maybe the jab. I don't know, because they're pretty big on the jab. Anyway, that's interesting. But also House Democrats is trending for a couple other reasons. Someone wanted to remind us. Remember, what's her McIver? LaMonica McIver was arrested for her assault on the ICE officers or whatever around that New Jersey ICE facility. Someone said, remember when 105 House Republicans joined Democrats in voting to expel New York Republican George Santos when he was charged with crimes before he was even convicted? Well, I hope Republicans do the same for LaMonica McIver. Well, I don't know if they necessarily need to do that, but the thought is funny. And also, a lot of House Democrats are on here talking about the big, beautiful bill, whatever, that isn't getting pushed through the Congress yet. But mostly House Democrats is trending because of that. Jerry Connolly passing away. All right, let's check a few headlines that I've just randomly put up here. Gas prices on Memorial Day. I mean, a lot of Democrats are talking about it. Donald Trump and gas prices, whatever, which, this is interesting. Maybe it's, like I said, do presidents have a lot of control over gas prices? Well, I don't know. But under this article, promises made, promises kept. Memorial Day set for the lowest gas prices in over 20 years. I'm like, really? Americans celebrating Memorial Day by hitting the road will likely be paying the cheapest gas prices since 2003. Gas Buddy, speaking of Gas Buddy AD, Gas Buddy, a fuel-saving platform, said Tuesday that it forecasts the national average price of gasoline to be $3.08 per gallon on Memorial Day. That would make it the cheapest since 2021 in nominal terms. After adjusting for inflation, it would be the lowest since 2003. This is not to be, and it's not expected to be short-lived. Prices of gasoline are expected to average around $3.02 a gallon between Memorial Day and Labor Day. Now that's amazing because it's been up over $4 almost at least the last 4 or 5 years in a row over the summer as one who drives a lot and takes daycations all the time. So that's amazing. This would make it the cheapest since 2021. Oh, I'm sorry. This is not blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry. Yeah. And some with prices falling below $3 on some days, which in Minnesota, I can get gas for less than $3 a gallon. It's $2.71 at my local Sam's Club. So that's likely to bring cheer to the 69% of Americans who plan on taking a road trip this summer. American road trip culture remains resilient, Gas Buddy said in the news release, announcing their 2025 summer travel survey. So there you go. Hey, that's good news, right? Absolutely. All right. Also in the headlines, Senate Democrats join Republicans to approve a major Trump campaign promise. This is fascinating. The United States Senate passed a bipartisan legislation to eliminate tax on tips through unanimous consent in a surprise move Tuesday afternoon. Now that's, they're working on this budget thing. And remember, both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, who copied his idea, said, why do we have tax on tips? And so that would be a cool thing for people who are in the service industry who, if you drive Uber Eats or you drive a cab or you drive, you wait staff, bar staff, and a lot. I'll tell you what, for some bartenders, that's huge. I'll tell you what. Especially like some of the bartenders in Vegas, they make $150,000 a year, and a lot of it's mostly tips. If wages are taxed, tips should be as well. I understand what you're saying, but I'm not going to complain about it. Anytime you can lower taxes for somebody, I'm all for it. However I see it. Anyway. Republican Senator Ted Cruz's No Tax on Tips Act would exempt tips from taxation under federal income tax. The legislation passage delivers on a central pledge of President Donald Trump's 2024 presidential campaign to provide tax release for tipped workers. Democratic Senator Jackie Rosen, a co-sponsor of the legislation, went to the Senate floor Tuesday to ask for unanimous consent to pass the bill. So the Democrat went and did ask for unanimous consent on Donald Trump's proposal, and everyone said, okay, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. We're gonna do this. So there you go. So there you go. Good. I am all for it. So there you go. Other headlines from PJ Media. Speaking of LaMonica MacIver, she apparently turned down a plea deal to avoid federal charges. So apparently she wanted that smoke from the Fed. On Monday night, the federal government hit LaMonica MacIver with charges after she and fellow Democrats attempted to force their way into the ICE detention facility in Newark a couple weeks ago. Predictably, House Democrats leadership issued a long-winded statement trying to downplay the incident, and it's every bit as ridiculous as you'd expect. But the real story here is that the Trump administration offered MacIver a plea deal, and she said, "Fuck out of here." Well, the Justice Department and Lena Haba wanted me to admit to doing something that I did not do, and I was not going to do that. Once again, I came here to do my job and conduct an oversight visit, and they wanted me to say something different, and I'm not doing that. I'm not going to roll over and stop doing my job because they don't want me to, or they want to neglect the fact that we needed to be there to see what was going on in that detention center. And so absolutely no, I'm not going to do that, MacIver told CNN. That's a pretty long-winded statement they wrote there. So good. She clearly did assault the officer by forearm shivering the guy. I'm sorry. You know what? Look, this is where are these charges in? New Jersey? Will this end up going to a jury trial? Or will it be just a bench trial? Who knows? I hope it's a bench trial and some judge says, "Look here, dumbass, you did what you did." But, New Jersey politics, who knows how that's going to work out. So anyway, there you go. Someone mentioned George Wendt in the chat earlier too, by the way. Didn't we mention George Wendt passing away yesterday? Oh no, that was during the day. Yes, George Wendt, Norm of Cheers fame, passed away yesterday. I tweeted that. I thought I talked about the show. Yeah, what a great character, and kind of a funny dude in general, a good comedian. Rest in peace, George Wendt. I forgot to mention that. And then finally, apparently the mayor of Chicago is also maybe in trouble here. Trump DOJ probing Chicago mayor after he bragged about race-based hiring. The Trump administration is investigating the city of Chicago after Democratic Mayor Brandon Johnson bragged about the number of black people he has hired. The Justice Department informed Johnson on Monday of the probe just one day after he appeared at a church and suggested that he had staffed his administration based on race. In a letter, Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon told Johnson that the investigation would examine whether the city violated Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits racial discrimination in employment. Dillon told Johnson the investigation was based on information suggesting that you have made hiring decisions solely on the basis of race. So, good luck, Brandon. Not that Brandon, not this Brandon.
Come on, man.
Yeah, so that should be interesting. I don't know if that's going to go anywhere, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, other things that we'll get to before I get to the Insta Wednesday. Salt is trending. This is if you're not know what salt is, as far as tax code, this is as they're fiddling around with this big, beautiful bill and things that they're going to do in the tax code. There was a proposal to raise the salt deduction, meaning in high tax states, if you live in a high tax state like New York or California or Washington or whatever, Michigan, there was this federal thing in the tax code that allowed you to deduct a portion of your high tax state taxes on your federal income tax, which is basically just a kind of a gift to governors of high tax states. So Steve Forbes points this out. Raising the SALT deduction is just a bailout for high tax blue states paid for by hardworking Americans in low tax red states, protect fiscal responsibility and say no to salt giveaways. So there's an article in Fox News about this too. Democrats are scheming to spread the tax misery of the blue states nationwide. Congress should be thinking about repealing the salt deduction entirely. And it's an editorial by, or an article by Mario Loyola, I don't know who that is, If you live in Florida or another low-tax state, brace yourself. A bipartisan group of lawmakers from blue states is gearing up to punish you for your state's fiscal restraint. They want to lift the cap on the federal income tax deduction for state and local taxes, known as SALT. If they succeed, middle-class Americans in red states will once again have to subsidize wealthy taxpayers in states such as California and New York, where leaders continue to double down on decades of fiscal mismanagement before President Trump's 2017 tax reform. The SALT deduction rewarded wealthy residents of high-tax states by reducing their federal taxes while still giving them the same federal benefits. This is, in effect, a hidden wealth transfer from less wealthy workers to low-tax states who don't get the deduction and have to pay more in federal taxes. So they're going to try to push this again. Apparently, President Trump has kind of changed his position on this, too. Now, I'm pretty sure maybe it's because President Trump no longer lives in New York, where it would have benefited him. But still, President Trump says SALT is nothing but a bailout for Democrat governors who tax their states to death. If the SALT caucus wants to ease their state and local tax burden, they can start by voting out the incompetent Democrats controlling their legislatures. So there you go. That's why that is trending, because that's coming up again. Also, Jake Tapper's still trending for this book he wrote. I didn't put a bookmark on it, but one of the best interviews of Jake Tapper regarding this is from Megyn Kelly. I listened to this yesterday, and she ripped Jake to shreds over this. In fact, here it is. Here it is. Here's Megyn Kelly. This is Megyn Kelly ending Jake Tapper's career regarding this stupid book that he that he put out. Oh, and I did this specifically for Avocados Diabli. In fact, I'll put a separate link just to this clip for your viewing pleasure. Here we go. There we go. All right, there we go. That way I don't have to do it here. All right, let's listen to 2 minutes of Megyn Kelly beating the crap out of Jake Tapper, because Jake Tapper's full of shit. He never pushed back on any of this shit from the White House. In fact, he was a cheerleader for Biden being mentally competent. Here it is.
I did ask Joe Biden to be transparent about his health records in an interview in 2020. I did ask him about the fact that voters thought that he was not transparent at all. No.
He promised you that he would be transparent about his health records, and then he wasn't. And when you sat with him again, including 1 month after the Jackie Walorski thing, you didn't ask him about it. You didn't follow up on the fact that he was falling up the stairs, that he was losing his train of thought regularly, that he was slurring, that he was incomprehensible, that he was getting lost on the White House lawn. You sat right across from him and you asked none of that, notwithstanding the fact that he had promised you he would be fully transparent.
And why didn't Jake ask that is the question. Well, the obvious answer is he would have lost access. He would have never gotten another interview, never gotten to talk to anybody from the White House. He would have lost. And so, CNN probably told him, don't ask him about that. We see it, but we're not going to say shit about it. Let's see what his answer is.
About his health issues. You know as well as I do that there's a way of, you can say, hey, there's this poll on your age, or you could say,
jump cut, so
you just forgot that Jackie
there.
Walorski was dead. You asked where she was moments after watching a videotape tribute to her. You lowered the flags at the White House after she died. This happened 13 days before you sat with him. There is a way of pressing a man like that on the actual infirmities to bring it home to him and to the audience, and you didn't do it. It wasn't just that. I mean, you sat with him a couple of times in the course of his presidency, and these issues were not pressed. Well, there was at least that time, and then there was the time at the beginning. And but separate and apart from that, you covered the Biden's presidency. No. Let me just finish my point. You covered the Biden presidency. Okay, right, and it was 13 days after the Jackie Walorski thing. But you covered the Biden presidency aggressively throughout the 4 years, and you didn't cover
beat up on Laura Trump
at all. I mean, time and time again, when issues came up, you seemed to be running cover for the president. You didn't seem interested. Do you want to apologize to Laura Trump now?
I've already apologized to her. I called her months ago.
I feel angry because she was right, and not only did you not allow her to make her comments, but you seemed to try to humiliate her. You had a hostility toward the position.
Absolutely.
But she was totally
He had absolute hostility
and then you
towards
her
the
on
question.
how she was in no position to diagnose cognitive decline, which you guys do at length, including on page 4 of your book. You describe at length his cognitive decline.
Look at what. No, it's funny though. This is the first time where I've watched this, where I was watching this Alex Thompson from Axios trying to listen, going along with this, and he's just like deer in the headlights, hoping she doesn't ask him a damn thing. I look at Alex Thompson during the rest of this now, the guy on the right.
Is all she tried to do with you, but you had such a visceral reaction to her.
He looks like Please don't ask me any of these questions.
Things for decades. Okay.
I get what you're saying, but this minimizes it too, because it was more than saying stupid things. But I'm telling you, like over here in my ecosphere, we were covering all of these. It wasn't just falling down; it was getting lost. It was some of the stuff you report in your book. We knew, and we were reporting on, like the multi-jump cuts in the videos of him, where it was obvious he couldn't get through a 1-minute take, so they had to use those. It was clear to us that he was using teleprompter, and there was some reporting on that at the time, all of which the White House was denying. Now, with the current White House, I have some connections. With the Joe Biden White House, I had none, but you did. And so while you've been in Washington.
Now, I don't have a link to the interview. Find it and watch it. It's glorious. And poor Jake probably doesn't want to talk to Megyn Kelly for a while. All right. And then final trending thing I had here, Andrew Cuomo. Apparently now Andrew Cuomo is under investigation. The Department of Justice has launched a criminal probe into Andrew Cuomo over his testimony on his COVID response. Cuomo perjured himself multiple times and hid records from the committee. He's also responsible for the deaths of thousands of nursing home patients. This person says lock him up. Now Nick is partisan. Let's see, somebody here. Andrew Cuomo, who lied under oath, is under investigation from the DOJ for his COVID crimes. He's responsible for 7,000 nursing home deaths. He must go to prison. Lots of people saying the same shit. He also hid life-saving ventilators in a warehouse and watched New Yorkers grow sick and perish. Although the ventilators was probably the reason some people were dying, as we find out later. So maybe that's not the worst thing he did, but the worst thing he did was putting sick people into nursing homes with elderly people who are the most susceptible. So they are opening an inquiry because he lied to Congress. So someone says, oh, no, here's someone. Wait, so the DOJ has opened an inquiry to Andrew Cuomo because he lied to Congress. So does that mean they're going to go after Marjorie Taylor Greene as well? Because she lied to Congress too. Actually, so did Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard and Christy Nunn. Yeah. Let's just say to all you Democrats who think this way, I guess payback's a bitch, isn't it? Ah, yeah. So, fuck off. All right. Today is Insta Wednesday, so we're gonna watch some videos. I got about 7 or 8 of them here today. Just various things that I came across on the internet. People bitching and moaning to the internet, which is what I do every day, but whatever. One of them though is will make you laugh and happy. So let's start with our first video today. This woman's going to tell you why she is scared to have a son. Yeah, here we go.
A son, raising him to 14 years old, you teach him to be lovely and respectful towards women, and then all of a sudden he gets a phone and he goes on social media and joins sites like Reddit and Twitter, and then he starts to see red pill content, and then he gets sucked into the pipeline and becomes a far right extremist who hates women. He starts calling you a bitch.
What? Wait a minute. And then he starts calling you a bitch. Wait a minute. Mom, hello, Selected Boy, what's up? Yeah, and Lunatics in the house. What up, Luna? And Reaction Puerto Rico. She starts calling you a bitch, and he's going right wing and whatever. You mean he learned some stuff that maybe you don't want him to learn? Is that what you're talking about?
And then before you know it, he's no longer your son, but he belongs to some weird ass movement. That is my worst nightmare.
That's your worst nightmare about having a son? I'd be worried about him knocking up some hoe. That's what I'd be worried about. Anyway, so she's saying, so social media, some of these comments, just the initial one. So social media is teaching young men to hate women. We need to see change in algorithms ASAP. And then with hashtags feminism, feminist TikTok, intersectional feminism, leftists, respect women, feminist, queer TikTok. What? What do you want him to teach? That's one of the, that's her. That's the woman. That's what she put on here. This is her pinned post. Yeah, projection and maybe have a decent man in his life. I bet you're a single mom. Or no, you're not even, I don't even know your mom yet. But yeah, she needs to get over it. Raise him normally instead of focusing on left and right. Raise him to be a good person. That would be, oops, that would be too easy. There you go. Anyway, So not a real exciting one. Let's move on right away, because unless you have something to say about it, let's see what some of the comments here are. People in the comments going, so you don't like masculinity? Oh no! So you agree that you think masculinity means hating women? No. See, this is the dumb thing too. Granted, there are some of those, kind of weird dudes out there, like the Myrons of Fresh and Fit, and what's the bald dude who kind of hate women, or in that manosphere realm. But not everyone is in that realm. There are a lot of good people. Maybe if you raise your son with a good man, father in his life, Andrew Tate, yeah, that dumbass, he's a weirdo. But Andrew Tate, yeah, him. Look, first of all, be sure to raise your son with a good man, find a good man and raise them together and be role models. And maybe your son won't go off the deep end. My son is so awesome. I love my son, and he's turned out to be a great man. He's successful. He's found himself a woman he loves, and they are started a successful life together. And all that shit was out there when he was in his 20s and teens, whatever. But you know what? We tried to set the example of good relationship and how to respect people, and that's where you should start. And that's the biggest thing that you can do, is just be good examples for your kid, and maybe ask him questions about things like that. If you hear that stuff, if he's calling you a bitch, maybe you're just a bitch. Sorry. That's so mean. Thank you, Pope Tyre. The Pope has spoken, and you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. The Pope says, as it is said in the Book of Bones, beware for giving the God-slaying sword, for today it is in your hand slaying your foes, but tomorrow you may be receiving on the receiving end of a vicious sting. The takeaway: Dems fucked around and now are in the finding out stage of this. Yes, exactly. You wanna be that way, you be that way. All right, let's move on. Next video on Insta Thursday. Now this one, or Insta Wednesdays, excuse me. This one's a little strange because, I had a question for one of the people in this video, so let's take a look at this one. This is interesting. Why is it full screen? There we go. Full middle. There we go. This one's fascinating because here. Oh, well, I blew that. All right, let's try that again. Here we go.
Hey, I'm a liberal with a hunting license.
Okay.
I'm definitely more conservative, but gay.
Why is the black guy always liberal actress, but I'm also the daughter of taxidermists.
I'm a MAGA Republican, as you would call it, but I love nature.
I'm an environmental justice advocate that's against everything that MAGA stands for, but I'm here to protect people and the planet while we still can.
I'm an environmental justice activist, and we're here to bring everyone together.
We disagree about 99% of things, it's true.
But we all care about the environment.
We launched today, and we're so excited to talk about the actual action we're going to be creating, because it's important to work together with folks that you don't agree on. Yahoo!
Okay, let's start with one issue. Well, there's a couple issues I have with this one. Apparently they are going to, I don't even know what the hell they're putting together. I didn't bother going and looking at any of the other videos. But they're doing something together to protect the environment, like, because, they're saviors of the world, all 7 or 8 of them, whatever there were. First of all, why does the black guy or black guys always have to be gay? It's always, why? You think every black guy in America is gay? I'm not. Why are all the black guys gay? Because that was one of the things. Good morning, Lewis, by the way. But that wasn't even the part that annoyed me the most. What annoyed me the most is, so the one girl supposedly, I'm a MAGA Republican. And the next bitch says, I couldn't be as far from MAGA Republican. I don't agree with anything MAGA Republicans say. I'm going to play this one more time because I want you to hear it again. We'll just go through it.
Hey, I'm a liberal with a hunting license.
Okay, a liberal with a hunting license. Okay, whatever. Great. You hunt and fish. That's not unusual.
Sup? I'm definitely more conservative, but gay.
Why are the black guys always gay? Anyway.
I am a Hollywood liberal actress, but I'm also the daughter of
Don't know who the fuck you are.
taxidermists.
The daughter of taxidermists. Okay.
I'm a MAGA Republican, as you would call it.
Okay, a MAGA Republican, so she voted for Trump, but I just got a little X'd out. This next bitch, though, is the one that pissed me off. Listen.
But I love nature.
I'm an environmental justice advocate that's against everything that MAGA stands for, but I'm here to protect people and the planet. Well,
you're against everything that MAGA stands for. Now, I don't, I don't necessarily consider myself MAGA, but I'm certainly MAGA adjacent. My friends are MAGA. The people who like to call themselves MAGA are what they are. But you're against everything MAGA stands for, huh? Really? So you like child trafficking? Yeah, because MAGA's really against that. So you're for MAGA. You're for that, right? What else? Let's see. You're for legal immigration then? Yes. Okay, great. Let's see. What else? What else? Oh, well, then I hope you're not in the service industry because you're against the tax. You like tax tips. I don't know. What else? There's all kinds of things. Child trafficking is where the money is, though. Oh, good God. Yeah, I just don't get it. So you're against everything. You like wars. You like perpetual wars and stuff because a lot of the MAGA people are anti-war too. They're kind of the anti-war branch of the Republican Party. So you like war. You like child trafficking because you're against everything MAGA stands for. Or either that, you just don't know. You don't know anyone. You don't have any. And because the chick before you, apparently whatever little environmental thing you're doing, she's for that. Are you against that now too? Anyone who says they're against everything that the other side is for, think twice about that. Because there's certainly some things, as I certainly am more MAGA than anything else right now, because I like the ideas that, I like the ideas and also like the fiscal part of it. Or I wish I liked the fiscal part of it. It's not going that well for me right now, but at least they're trying. But I don't disagree, or I'm not against everything that people who disagree with me are for. That's just a stupid statement. So she can smell us through the screen. Oh my God, are you? Oh my God, wait a minute. This is terrible. What is this? Something about her. Well, someone said you could spread cement with that nose. Oh no. Just realize you should never share your Coke with her. Oh my God. Okay, that's the catch. Most of these people don't think. True. All right, that's funny. All right, so anyway, that's the only reason I wanted to watch that again. And yeah, she's, I guess.
Oh, we still can.
I'm an environmental
And then this guy,
justice activist, and we're here to bring everyone together.
Again, stop. Why do the black guys always have to be gay? It's just, it's annoying. All right, enough of that one. Oh, some of the comments on here too. Let's go through. I remember reading some of the comments. So, for example, well, this says what happens when you get a bunch of liberal. This is the poster of this. What happens when you get a bunch of liberals and conservatives together in the middle of the country? You might be surprised. Nature is nonpartisan launches today, and we want to hear your frustrations with the current environmental landscape and what we can do better as we meet in the middle. Share your comments below and join us. We'll be highlighting your post during the official launch day. Look, everyone likes to drink water that's, potable. Everyone likes to, people generally like to go out in nature and see pretty things. And since we have a shit ton of that in the United States, I say go do it. Go to your park, go see a waterfall, go to a lake, go to a mountain, go see something cool. That's the environment. The fact that you think you're going to save the planet is ridiculous. The planet will be here long after your dust and, and bones, whatever. So, but some of the comments on here too, MAGA, quote, MAGA and, quote, caring about the environment, as in that's a joke. Well, you'd be surprised how many people, MAGA people hunt and fish. You ever heard of, see, there's a difference between environmentalism and conservation, okay? And many people who hunt and fish are into conservation. They want to maintain habitats so they can continue to hunt and fish, or that they can go camping, or they can do stuff like that. So the idea that someone who is MAGA would be anti-environment just because they believe that we should also be utilizing the energy resources we have in our country, it's not mutually exclusive. If you can do it in a responsible way and you keep environments where you can go out and hunt and fish and kill shit. So, it's funny. Someone out here, let's see, someone in this group has got some heavy cognitive dissonance going on. No, they don't. No, they don't. But there's a ton of comments like that about this, that they're, oh, how could a MAGA be for the environment? Bitch, because we got to live here too. Shut the fuck up. So there you go. All right, enough about that one. Next. What's next? Oh, I'm going too slow. Let's go through these a little faster. All right, next one. Oh, this is one of the age-old questions, apparently, that is riddling the internet. This woman is asking about wearing braids. Oh, I did it again. Okay, I got to remember to unmute these. Hang on. Why is this not working? There we go.
I'm allowed to wear braids.
Okay.
Yes, you are, and you obviously do. But the real question is, should you?
Why? Why is that even a question? If she wants to wear braids, wear your braids, honey. But let's go through what he's gonna give us a lesson. It's always the light-skinned brothers who have to talk about depression and shit. Here we go.
Braids are deeply rooted in many African cultures. To this day, black people still face discrimination for the hairstyles you just wear as a trend. Due to
discrimination? I suppose there are cases where people are asked to change their hairstyle because it's not business appropriate. But it's pretty rare now, because I've seen lawyers with dreads, and I've seen, that stupid messed up hair thing that a lot of brothers are doing these days. I see a lot of that too. I prefer the clean cut look, but whatever.
Systemic racism.
Due to systemic racism,
cut their natural hair off to appear more professional.
Often cut it off or just change style, whatever.
While you can simply take out your braids and be free from all the discrimination black people face because of their skin or because of their hair.
If she can wear.
Now, hang on. Now this is the part where I laughed, because he went through all that saying, talking about he didn't say the word appropriation, but you understand. He's like, oh, this is a style for that, and whatever.
Wig, I can wear braids.
That's not the same. Many
Really? So you don't consider it appropriating a hairstyle that's not natural to you or within your culture as okay, but supposedly she can't? I'm curious.
Black women wear wigs not by choice, but because their natural hair is still not accepted in many social or professional spaces. And by
No. A lot of black women wear wigs because they want their long straight hair that they envy from other people. And it's fine. Who cares? They like the hairstyles. They try to wear a hairstyle that they like to see, and they try it for themselves. Just like the white women wearing braids.
By the way, wigs did not originate from white cultures.
And again,
worn for thousands.
I think he missed the point about the wigs too. Or, whether they're wearing wigs or blonde weaves, it's the point of you saying that the braids are a part of black and African culture. Well, wearing the wavy blonde hair probably isn't part of the black and African culture. So it's a similar question of whether or not black women should wear those things. Anyway.
Of years across the whole globe, including ancient Egypt, which is located in
it's not about the wigs.
So yes, you can wear braids, but if you do it respectfully.
Okay, and then, now, that's the other question I have. So if you do wear braids, wear them respectively. How? What's a respectful way of wearing braids? You're just wearing the braids. What are you gonna? Unless a white girl comes up with some box braids and says, or just start saying, the word nigga because they think I'm black now. Is that being disrespectful? I don't know what that means. Wear them respectfully. It's such a tiresome argument. All right, let's move on to the next one here. Okay, let's see. I'm going to unmute. Oh, this guy annoys the shit out of me. Here we go. Because there's a fault to his logic, but let's listen. I'm going to start it over because I want to make sure you hear it all.
So Americans, we hold about $164 trillion in wealth. Group number one, as you can probably guess, is the top 1%. There are 3.3 million people in the top 1%, and they hold $50 trillion. The next 9%, there's about 30 million people, and they hold $60 trillion. Now, group three is the next 40%. There's 133 million people in this group, and they hold $50 trillion. This group number three is what I'm calling the old school middle class. A lot of people in this group are over 50 years old. Then we go to group number four, which is the bottom 50%. There are 175 million people in the bottom 50%, and they hold only $4 trillion.
Okay. Before I let him finish this statement, can anyone figure out what the obvious question here is? How about, why is he talking about wealth, but he heads up the post with the words income? Income and wealth are not the same thing. Income and wealth are not the same thing. Also, wealth doesn't necessarily come from income. So when he's talking about the top percent having $50 trillion and the bottom four they don't have $50 trillion. They have a imaginary value of their assets or what they've created. And also, guess what? So he's going back and saying, at this point, there was... Well, wait, let me finish here real quick.
Here is the craziest part about the whole thing. Back in the 1980-ish, adjusted for inflation, America's
1980-ish, okay,
wealth was about $30 trillion. And today it's about $164 trillion.
Okay.
So in 45 years, the nation's wealth grew over $130 trillion.
How? Because right now he seems to think this is a zero-sum game. How did wealth grow to $30 trillion by that much? Okay. And he's going to say, it wasn't evenly distributed. Of course it wasn't. Because wealth can be created from almost nothing. If you have a great idea, that tells you that wealth has been created by people who maybe came up with something new. Because also, guess what? A lot of wealth died in that same time that you're not accounting for too. Plus the fact that there's inflation, but a lot of the wealth died. For example, if you're someone who makes VHS recorders, that shit went away. But if you make electric cars like Elon Musk, you created wealth from pretty much nothing. Okay, you might have had some investment, whatever, to do it, but what I'm saying is wealth is not static and wealth is not permanent by any stretch of the imagination. Also, what is valuable at one point can become obsolete and worth nothing at another point. Person selling a big stock room full of VCRs doesn't have a lot of wealth anymore. But in 1981, they had if you had a giant warehouse of VCRs, you had a shit ton of wealth because you had the assets that were worth something. So the difference between income and wealth are great. And also, by the way, he mentions how, people over 50, they have this much of the wealth. Why would someone over 50 have that much wealth versus someone who's 20? Because remember, you're saying 175 million people. Well, 175 million people are still pretty young, right? Wealth accumulates over time and can grow over time if, once with the assets you have. So, for example, the house I bought, me and my wife bought 20 years ago, we didn't have that giant amount of wealth, but because of inflation, now we have that wealth in that piece of possession, even though a house is really a liability, that a 20-year-old would not have today. It's like when you first start out, you get out of high school, you get out of college, and you have an apartment, and you have a couch and a bed, right? You haven't accumulated much. Now, 30 years down the line, after you have married, you get kids, you might have a house. Imagine how much stuff you have in your house after those 30 years. Will I have a lot more wealth than a 20-year-old just getting out of high school or college or whatever, and they're just starting out? Of course I'm going to have more wealth because I've accumulated shit over 40 to 50 years. So this is just, this is class envy, or this is, envy over people. This guy's expecting, those 130, 50, he says bottom 50%. Now, granted, not everyone in the bottom 50% is young either. But if you use this kind of metric, this is the Scrooge McDuck theory that, these people have all this money. No, wealth is not having money. Wealth is having stuff or business that you've accumulated or things you've created. Look, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all those super wealthy people that have tons of wealth. It's not in a swimming pool full of gold. It's the value of their business, and it's not static. And look, someone could come up with a new operating system tomorrow, and Bill Gates might be broke, and he won't be broke, but you know what I'm saying? His operating systems on current computers could be obsolete at any time. So that's why they spent a lot of time trying to create their own new shit. But anyway.
But unfortunately, back in 1980, the bottom 50% adjusted for inflation had $2 trillion of the nation's wealth.
So,
and today, it only has $4 trillion.
And again, you're comparing things that really don't compare. Whether or not they have 2 or 4 trillion in that time, that's because there's been a whole lot of other stuff that's considered wealth, that's considered assets. Wealth is not money. So it's a stupid premise.
$1 billion of the nation's wealth. So over $130 trillion went to the top 50%, and only two.
No, it didn't. That's what their wealth grew by, not their bank accounts. So it's a stupid way to look at things, but it sounds logical though, doesn't it? It sounds logical. Oh, well, the Reaganomics didn't do this.
$2 trillion went to the bottom 50%. Clearly, the trickle-down economics over 45 years did not work. So Americans, we hold about 100.
So anyway, this guy drives me nuts because all his videos are like this, where he tries to compare different things, where when he's talking about wealth especially, he considers wealth as income. Income and wealth are not the same thing. That's my point. All right, I got to do a couple more and then get out of here. Oh, here's another one. This is I'll call it a hot take, whatever. I'm going to make sure I can see the whole thing.
Hot take, basic needs shouldn't require a job. Well, then no one will want to work.
Basic needs shouldn't require a job. You know what? Basic needs don't require a job. But they do require some kind of effort. Because if you don't have a job, you got to find a way to get your basic needs. If there were no jobs, well, you'd still have to get your basic needs, so you'd have to find some effort to get your basic needs. That's kind of dumb.
Work anymore. Okay, you've been convinced that's a bad thing, that lazy people somehow take something from you.
Yes, yes, they do. If someone has to take money from me to give it to somebody who doesn't work, then they do take something from me. And if I haven't chosen to give that to them, that means I'm being coerced. Oh my God.
Work to live. We could actually come together as workers and say, no, that job fucking sucks. I'm not doing that. When you're not forced.
Who's going to make your Starbucks then? Who's going to make your little Starbucks? Holy shit.
Out of desperation, jobs actually have to compete to entice workers. That means
they already do. And guess what? People have to find a way to look. If we still lived in a hunting gathering society, then you'd have to have an agreement with the people you're around and who's going to make sure everyone eats and has water, whatever. But you are responsible for your own basic needs. Holy shit, I guess, unless you believe in slavery or something, I don't know.
It's incentivizing us to work with higher pay and competitive benefits. Oh, but what about the people who still won't want to work? Okay, picture for a minute you are given the most basic ass studio apartment and canned food.
The people who don't want to work don't work now. And they live in squalor. Right? Or they live on the dole.
Food to live on. Are you going to be content with that? No, you want a PlayStation. You want to go to the movies. You want to go out to eat. You want nice clothes. You want a bigger apartment. You want better food. There are still plenty of reasons to work beyond needing to survive.
Less people would work. And look, so you believe that maybe, see, what she doesn't seem to understand is in order for other people not to work or whatever, then you'd have to take it from somebody else who does. Now, some people are more than willing to do that. If you want to do that, you need to get a large group of like-minded people and go off into your little space and have your little commune. And everyone can either contribute or not contribute. Because I guarantee you, if you're in your little commune and everyone is contributing to the well-being and the basic needs of everybody else, except for one person, who's the first person you're going to kick out of the commune if they're not contributing? The person who's not doing anything. Because they're not putting in their effort. So it's kind of, this is so funny when people say, oh, we should just have universal basic income. Really? Who's paying for it? How are you getting that? What are you going to do with that? How are you going to do that?
And Jesus Christ, if we're not striving for that as a society, as technology progresses, as productivity increases, what are we doing? Are you seriously satisfied just boosting shareholder profit?
It has nothing to do with boosting shareholder profit. It's about contributing to your own well-being. And if you don't want to do it by having a job, then find a way to go do it. Again, I don't know, hunting and gathering. Go live in the mountain and off grid and go out there with your Bowie knife and kill a bear and make a blanket out of it. I don't know, but everyone has to, unless they're unable. I'm willing to help people who are unable contribute to their own well-being, but otherwise, we're not a commune. There was 350 million people. And you're not entitled to my effort, because, all you people thought you were entitled to my effort. About a couple hundred years ago, I'd have been like, fuck you. And there would have been a revolt on the plantation. So fuck off, bitch. Moving on. Next. This one's dumb. And I did this again. I keep forgetting the mute buttons on these. I should have just taken them all off.
I got a question. It might get me canceled, but explain to me like I'm 5 years old, though. Do not jump me. Why do we have to remember the Holocaust, but we don't have to remember slavery? You better give me valid reasons, too, and I'm not playing. Because I don't get it. I got a question.
Her question is, why do we have to remember the Holocaust and not remember slavery? Who the fuck told you that? Who told you we don't have to remember slavery? Doesn't mean we have to talk about all this. It's funny because one of the first comments on here, I asked my college professor the same question. Not a word. Yeah, this is a chemistry class, dear. What are you talking about? Now a lot of the problem here too, is when we say we want to talk about slavery, especially when we get into the reparations talk. First of all, everyone knows about slavery because it's in our Constitution, right? Because we ended slavery in our Constitution. So you can't get away from it. If someone goes, well, what's this 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment? Oh, yeah, that's about slavery. We're going to explain why, that happened, right? But so there is no case of we don't have to know about slavery. We have to, because it's a part of our history. But also, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about, the reparations, debate. And I was always wondering, when we say we're going to have reparations, like California had a bill for reparations, which Gavin Newsom vetoed. And I mean, I get the debate, my great-grandfather never got any compensation from that. But then I was like, well, wait a minute. Who would owe the descendants of slaves reparations? Because they always talk about, 400 years of slavery. Well, first of all, there's not 400 years of slavery. I mean, unless you're counting back to, 1492, maybe there's some slaves then. But even then, slavery ended in 1865 in the United States, whatever. But the problem is the slavery only lasted for about 75 years in the United States. Slavery only lasted 75 years in the United States. Now, how can I say that if they're going back to 1619 and the first slaves from all different races, as early as the 1500s? Because the United States didn't exist as a country with laws until 1789. So within one generation, the United States abolished slavery. Or basically a generation. Maybe in those days, maybe 1.5 generations abolished slavery. But from 1789 to 1864 or 1865, 76 years, the United States abolished slavery. So who do we blame for slavery in North America? Well, obviously England, the Great Britain, whatever, the crown was responsible for slavery even being legal in the colonies, right? So why would we, so maybe the British should give reparations for slavery, but also the Spanish slave traders, the Arab slave traders, the Africans who sold off slaves in there. So why would you, and then again, only about less than 2% of the slave states, only 2% of the population in the slave states even owned slaves. And also there was a large number of black slave owners, hundreds of them, not just ones who bought their family out of slavery, but also there were actually black plantation owners, especially in Louisiana. There was a lot of black plantation owners who owned slaves. It wasn't just the black people who were slaves. But the debate needs to go far beyond why would the United States, which actually the United States, Confederacy left, the United States that won the Civil War, ended slavery. And I always ask that question when people say, well, make America great again. When was America ever great? Well, I know it's pretty great when it abolished slavery. Right? Now, things didn't always work out so well beyond that when you got the Jim Crow stuff. But, America was pretty great when we did the Civil Rights Act in 1964 and abandoned Jim Crow laws. That was pretty great, I thought. So this goes into a lot of directions. But the idea that we forget about slavery or don't have to know about slavery, well, that's stupid since it's part of our Constitution when we ended it. So it's an interesting topic. All right, next, let's do a couple more and we'll get out of here.
Just letting everyone know that there's deportations going on in San Francisco. 4 of my students...
Wait. Did she say there's deportations going on in San Francisco? Yeah, all right. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yesterday. One of them for a parking ticket.
No. Wait.
The other one for getting on the bus and not paying.
Okay. I think she's confused. Nobody is deported for a parking ticket or for not paying for their bus ride. People got deported because they're in the country illegally. So she goes on and on. I'm not going to play any more of it because she's fucking stupid. Yeah. That wasn't the reason they got deported. So there you go. All right, moving on. Oh, this is the last one. There's a couple more, but this is the last one I'm going to play because this one is almost, for all you men out there, you'll know that this is exactly what it's like to be married or have a significant other or being a guy in the relationship. This is beautiful. So here you go. No, watch it. Watch him carefully. Watch him. I don't know if you caught that. He's pulling out the one she already picked. She didn't like the one he picked, so she put it out. Okay, you all caught that. All right, that's got to be it today because I'm already later than I wanted to be. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. I hope you enjoyed some of the dumbassery and whatnot. I will have all these links in the chat, including that one link that I was not going to show on YouTube. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I got to go. Remember, next week I'm not here, so but I'll be here in spirit and maybe in video. All right, thanks. I got to go. My name is Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Links will be in the chat and the what you call it, the description shortly. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thanks for watching today on the Dawg Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.